Yes,
Just say,
wow. The women. All set? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Bon matin. Bienvenue. Thank you for joining us here today at the National Defence Headquarters. I'd first like to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. Today and every day, we reaffirm our commitment to respectful partnership and meaningful reconciliation with Indigenous people. My name is Jenna Sudds, and I am the Member of Parliament for Kanata Carleton, and happy to be your MC here today. I'm thrilled to be here with my colleagues, Minister Anand, Minister Fortier, Parliamentary Secretary Lalonde, Mayor Sutcliffe, Councillor Brown, Major General Beauvoir, and members of the Canadian Armed Forces and the Department of National Defence. It's truly an honor to be here and to appreciate the great work of the Canadian Armed Forces, who truly are at the heart of Canada's security and prosperity. Their sacrifices are truly etched into every chapter of our history. They've kept the peace, defended democracy, and enabled countless people to live in freedom at home and around the world. As an MP here in the National Capital Region, I've had the privilege of getting to know Ottawa's vibrant, dynamic, and very tight-knit military community. And I've had the pleasure of meeting with many CAF members directly, and their stories of sacrifice and of service always leave me grateful. Our government understands that the Canadian Armed Forces deserve high-quality equipment. That's why we are increasing our defence spending by 70% through Canada's defence policy. It's why we're investing almost $40 billion in NORAD modernization. And it's also why we're here today. Before I pass the mic to Minister Anand, I would like to first thank her for her incredible leadership and for continuing to deliver for the Canadian Armed Forces. Her work is at the heart of what it takes to build a military where all members feel protected and respected. She has been hard at work to provide our armed forces with the tools and infrastructure that they need to keep Canadians safe. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Canada's Minister for National Defence, the Honourable Anita Anand, to the podium.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's so great to see you here. Thank you so much, Jenna, and welcome, Marie-France and Mona, et tout le monde aussi, Général, le Mayor, et aussi d'autres dignitaires. It's so wonderful to see you all here this morning, right here in Perks, in the heart of Ottawa. I just wanted to start off by saying that one of the most rewarding parts of my job is to work hard for the Canadian Armed Forces in terms of ensuring that they have the capabilities, the capacities, the resources that they need. This is an ongoing process, and as Jenna said, one of the most important parts of this process is to focus on infrastructure. And that's what we're here today to do. Of course, the importance is not lost on any of you, especially in this time of heightened global strategic threat and conflict. And here I want to focus on the work of the JTF-2, the Joint Task Force 2, which is our premier special operations force. which is the Special Operations Force that continue to demonstrate unwavering commitment to our national security. Founded in 1993, JTF-2 is an extremely high readiness and precise Special Operations Forces unit. Le FOI-2 existe pour protéger les intérêts nationaux des Canadiens et lutter contre le terrorisme et les menaces aussi envers les Canadiens et les Canadiennes au pays et à l'étranger. This unit is equipped with best-in-class expertise. JTF-2 members provide Canada with a strategic advantage in conflict. Why? Because they're highly skilled, they are agile, and they are always ready to work closely with our closest allies. Their motto, facta non verba, deeds, not words, is a testament to their dedication. And I'd like to take a moment and thank JTF-2 and Général Boivin d'être ici avec nous aujourd'hui et pour leur travail acharné aussi. Thank you. Because when times are tough, when discretion, time, and precision are of the utmost importance, you are the ones that we call. And you are the ones that answer that call. And as our world advances at breakneck pace with technological disruption, with new domains emerging, with geopolitical volatility, it is crucial that our special operations forces maintain their strategic advantage. Donc aujourd'hui, j'ai le plaisir d'annoncer que nous investissons 1,4 milliard de dollars au cours de la prochaine décennie pour revitaliser le centre d'entraînement de Dwyer Hill de la 2e force opérationnelle interarmée. Il s'agit de la première modernisation majeure de Dwyer Hill depuis que les forces armées canadiennes ont acquis ces installations en 1993. Today, I am happy to announce that we are investing $1.4 billion over the next decade to revitalize the Dwyer Hill Training Centre, home of Joint Task Force 2. This is the first major refresh of Dwyer Hill since the Canadian Armed Forces acquired these facilities in 1993. Thanks to this investment, we are replacing aging structures with 23 modern, reliable, state-of-the-art buildings. We are renovating existing facilities, and we are upgrading on-site utilities. All in all, this investment will provide more than 100,000 square meters of space so that our Special Operations Forces can train to excel in the jobs that we ask of them. New or renovated buildings will include modern office, operations, and technical shop spaces, new range training, warehouse, medical, and accommodations facilities, as well as access control infrastructure and spaces for kitchens, mess, ammunition, equipment, and vehicle storage. La construction devrait commencer en mois de mai cette année. Cet investissement renforcera l'infrastructure de nos forces armées, mais il profitera également à notre économie en créant environ 2,000 emplois. Construction is set to begin in May of this year. This investment will, of course, bolster our armed forces infrastructure, but it will also benefit the local economy right here in Ottawa by creating approximately 2,000 jobs. I am also thrilled to share that 5% of the value of all contracts are targeted to be awarded to Indigenous businesses, so that Indigenous communities will also benefit from this investment. This is something that I worked very hard on when I was the Minister of Public Services and Procurement. I worked hard with Minister Miller in particular on this initiative to ensure that it exists across government, not only at PSPC, and I'm so happy that we are seeing the 5% being front and center of this announcement today. This project will also be built to protect our planet. Les nouvelles installations ultra-modernes sont conçues pour répondre aux normes énergétiques et environnementales. The facilities are going to be net zero ready, and they're going to help us to meet the federal target of net zero emissions by 2050. They're going to be climate resilient, structured to withstand extreme weather events, and they're going to include fully electric systems, reducing our emissions and our carbon footprint. So friends, to conclude, je voudrais dire que nos forces armées font chaque jour d'énormes sacrifices pour assurer notre sécurité, comme Jenna a déjà dit. Mais je pense au père en uniforme qui est soudainement appelé à se déployer à travers le monde et qui manque l'anniversaire de son enfant. I think of the young soldier who misses an anniversary, a holiday, or a milestone because she is serving our country. I know, as a mother of 4 children myself, how important those moments in your children's lives are. I think of the thousands of children in Canada, therefore, who hug their parents goodbye, who know that they won't be reunited for many months. JTF2, and indeed all people in uniform, dedicate their careers to serving our country. These might be ordinary stories in the Canadian Armed Forces, but our people in uniform are extraordinary Canadians. And today, we take an important step forward to ensure that our Special Operations Forces have the world-class infrastructure that they need to train, to fight, and to win. As the threats facing Canada continue to evolve, this investment will help keep our personnel ready. It will create thousands of jobs. It will build clean, green, new infrastructure, and it will deliver concrete economic benefits for the National Capital Region, Indigenous communities, and Canadian workers. Permettez-moi maintenant de conclure en remerciant les membres des Forces armées canadiennes et des opérations spéciales et leurs familles pour leur contribution au Canada et pour leur dévouement à notre pays, chaque jour, chaque année. Merci à vous. Et maintenant, je vais passer la parole à Jenna. Jenna, thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Anand. What an incredible announcement and investment for CAF, for JTF2, and for Ottawa. It's now my great pleasure to introduce my dear colleague, the President of Treasury Board, Minister Fortier.
Merci, Jenna. Vous allez bien? It's a good announcement. C'est vraiment, vraiment une bonne journée. Merci beaucoup, Jenna, pour ton introduction, puis surtout pour ton leadership dans Kanata, Carleton et toute la communauté. Évidemment, I'm also joined here with my good friend and I will say colleague for the Ottawa region, the Mayor Sutcliffe. Also, I want to recognize Councillor David Brown. Nice to meet you today. Et aussi, évidemment, Major Général Boivin, les membres des Forces canadiennes et évidemment ma collègue Marie-France Lalonde d'Orléans. The $1.4 billion investment to upgrade Dwyer Hill Training Centre infrastructure will provide Canada's Special Forces with high-quality facilities and create large-scale economic opportunities for the local community. Cette annonce fera et fait une grande différence dans notre communauté et va offrir des avantages significatifs à plusieurs membres de notre communauté ici à Ottawa et à travers la région de la capitale nationale. Comme la ministre Anand a annoncé, le projet prévoit la construction de 23 bâtiments modernes et ultramodernes, la rénovation de cette structure et l'amélioration de tous les services publics sur place. Et cette initiative permettra non seulement de soutenir les membres des Forces armées canadiennes, mais aussi pour stimuler l'économie locale. And as Minister Anand earlier said, this investment will create thousands of new, good-paying jobs right here in Ottawa. Like she said, approximately 2,000 jobs will be created throughout the project, with as many as 250 to 300 people working on site during peak construction periods. And construction starts soon, May 2023, and will continue up until 2033. And more than 150 subcontracts will be included to provide greater opportunities for local and smaller contractors to bid on work, supporting our small businesses and entrepreneurs alike. And crucially, Indigenous businesses will be a key partner in this economic opportunity and project. La croissance de nos forces armées va de pair avec la croissance de notre économie et permet d'investir à long terme dans les communautés locales. Les bâtiments contribueront également à l'approche adoptée par l'ensemble du gouvernement pour réduire notre empreinte écologique et mettre en place des infrastructures plus propres et plus vertes. Et en tant que présidente du Conseil du Trésor, je veille à ce que le gouvernement passe à des opérations à émissions net zéro et à des initiatives écologiques. Et je suis ravie de voir que la durabilité est un aspect essentiel de ce projet. And as Minister Anand said, our Special Operations Forces are one of Canada's most prized strategic assets, playing a critical role in maintaining safety and stability here in Canada and around the world. And by upgrading and revitalizing the Dwyer Hill Training Centre, the Canadian Armed Forces will have the modern, reliable infrastructure that they need to train and maintain operational readiness. Alors, je suis très fière d'être ici et du travail qui a été accompli par notre gouvernement pour le bien-être de nos militaires et de nos concitoyens dans la région de la capitale nationale. Merci beaucoup d'être ici. Miigwech. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, Minister Fortier. As the Member of Parliament for Kanata Carleton, let me just reiterate how thrilled I know my constituents are and will be about this massive investment in our region. As was said, this project will create thousands of jobs over the next 10 years, and it will deliver significant opportunities for small business and Indigenous partners. This new infrastructure will contribute to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, from defense buildings to meet the federal target of net zero emissions by 2050. But ultimately, this is about delivering state-of-the-art infrastructure for the men and women of the Canadian Armed Forces. JTF-2 exists to protect Canadians' national interests and combat terrorism and threats to Canadians both at home and abroad. So I am incredibly proud that the National Capital Region is home to this very important unit. Minister Anand, friends, thank you very much again for today's announcement. We will now have a question and answer period, and I will pass it over to the moderator, Daniel Minden.
Thank you very much. We'll now go to the question and answer period. If you could please just use the microphone that's next to the cameras, that would be great. On va prendre une question de suivi. S'il vous plaît, indiquez votre nom et votre organisation. Please indicate your name and your organization and to whom your question is directed. We'll start with Lee Berthiaume.
Sure. Minister, good morning. Lee Berthiaume, Canadian Press. Both questions are for Minister Anand.
Lucky me.
Excuse me. President Biden is expected to call on Canada to spend more on defense when he visits later this week. We've heard the government's arguments for years about Canada being the sixth largest NATO contributor, about how we contribute to NATO missions across the board, and about how it's about outputs, not inputs. But the U.S. keeps pushing for more spending. So what, if anything, are you and the Prime Minister planning to tell President Biden that is new this time around?
Well, as you know, Lee, and thank you for your question, we are very committed to NATO. We have been leading the Enhanced Forward Presence Battle Group in Latvia for 5 years and have committed to continue to doing so. We were one of the founding members of NATO. We will continue to ensure that we are contributing to our multilateral alliances across the board, NATO and NORAD included. Our defense spending is increasing by 70% under SSE. We committed another $8 billion under the last federal budget, and then almost $40 billion under NORAD modernization, which I announced last June. So as you can see, there is an upward trajectory in our defense spending. This is the work that I and our government are doing every day to ensure that the Canadian Armed Forces have what they need to fight and win. This is the purpose of the announcement here today, in fact, to make sure that we are providing what is necessary for JTF2 and the forces more broadly. But as I said, we will continue to be committed to our multilateral alliances, and NATO is no exception.
And a follow-up?
A follow-up, you mentioned NORAD. The U.S. ambassador to Canada is calling for more urgency in upgrading Canada's air defenses, NORAD. Yet the commander of NORAD a couple of weeks ago told the CDAI conference that he is still waiting for Ottawa to tell him what the updated NORAD system needs to protect before those upgrades can move ahead. Why haven't you provided such a list to General Van Herk, and when will it be delivered to him?
Well, thanks for that question also. First and foremost, I want to point to NORAD's work over the recent past, and in particular, its very quick and efficacious shoot down of the suspected balloon over Yukon, which was its first mission in North American skies, and it was successful. And it showed the importance of NORAD in terms of not only monitoring our skies, but protecting our skies also. In terms of moving forward quickly with NORAD modernization, let's remember that this is almost $40 billion over 20 years. And so we will continue to work closely with the United States, as we have been doing, to move quickly on our projects, including over-the-horizon radar, including command and control, including research and development, including ensuring the cooperation that is necessary for these large-scale investments. But what I want you all to know is that this is the work that we're doing every day. We're not sitting idly by to wait for 10 years to pass before we upgrade NORAD and our continental defense. At the same time, we need to make sure that the current infrastructure remains in place. And so the North Warning System, for example, is also being upgraded and maintained pursuant to a $600 million contract awarded to Nasdaq Corporation last January. So this is a two-track system of working to improve our continental defense by installing new infrastructure, new systems, new radar systems that will move further and further north while maintaining the current infrastructure. And as I said, this is complex work, and it is the work that we are doing every day.
Prochaine question, next question.
Good morning, Minister Anand. Taria Isri with Global News. Is today's announcement recognition that the Special Operation Forces are dealing with a more intelligence-driven world, given growing concerns with Russia and China?
So today's announcement was contemplated in Strong, Secure, Engaged, our 2017 defense policy. In the context of the global strategic environment, however, we see the increasing need to make investments of this sort. And we see the need to continue to recapitalize the Canadian Armed Forces, and that is why we're so pleased to be able to make an announcement that not only benefits JTF2 and the forces, but Ottawa itself, workers in Ottawa, and committing to the environmental targets as well as Indigenous procurement, both of which are extremely important objectives for our government. So in essence, we need to keep moving on all of these fronts. We need to respond to the global strategic environment, but we also need to ensure economic revitalization wherever possible, and this announcement does just that.
So is this part of a strategy to focus more on the Indo-Pacific region and increasing our capabilities there?
This is, as I said, part of Strong, Secure, Engaged, our 2017 defense policy. But I'm glad you mentioned the Indo-Pacific, because we also are working very hard on the Indo-Pacific strategy, which was launched at the end of last year. And in particular, the defense component of that strategy will see a third frigate added to the Indo-Pacific. We'll see increased training and partnerships with our allies and partners in the region, especially in areas like women, peace, and security. And it will see enhanced cybersecurity with our partners. So again, I think what your question, and certainly the answer to the question, reflects is that we are moving forward on a number of fronts, including enhancing infrastructure here at home for JTF2, but also in international theaters, be it Latvia, be it the Indo-Pacific. We need to continue to do whatever is necessary in this changing world.
Next question.
Good morning, Minister. Murray Rooster with CBC News. The U.S. ambassador has been very pointed in some of his comments about Canada's spending where it comes to NORAD, basically wanting to see, recognizing that there is $40 billion over 20 years, but wants to see faster investment. So is your government prepared to put more money into NORAD more quickly? And if not, why not?
So, as you're aware, we announced $4.9 billion over 6 years as the initial investment of an over $38 billion over 20-year investment. So that is a significant investment on top of the $8 billion investment in defense spending announced in Budget 2022. So we need to continue to move on NORAD modernization and continental defense. That's exactly what we are doing. Can we work more closely together? We will continue to do that. I visited Colorado Springs with the Secretary of Defense last year with that in mind. I've had a number of bilateral meetings with the Secretary of Defense with that in mind. And I will say that our close relationship and the close relationship within the binational command is serving us well in terms of the road ahead on NORAD modernization. There are a number of projects that we need to continue to expedite, and I am always pushing our team to work as quickly as possible. But I want to reiterate that this is a process, and it will take time to ensure that new infrastructure is built. And that's why we need to continue to invest in existing infrastructure at the same time for the protection of our country.
And Minister, you'll forgive me if you've been asked this question before, but I've been away. Why is Canada not part of AUKUS?
The primary purpose of AUKUS was in terms of the acquisition of nuclear submarines, which is not the route that Canada is taking in terms of its marine capabilities. Having said that, I am very, very much in close touch with our Five Eyes allies. I speak with them regularly, I meet with them regularly, and so the advantages and the necessity to cooperate along that axis will continue to occur, and we will continue to play a very close and leading role in terms of that alliance as well as our others.
Merci. On va passer à la prochaine question.
Oui, Antoine Trépanier, le journal Le Droit. Concernant Dwyer Hill, c'est un gros projet de 10 ans. Quels sont les plans de contingence de votre ministère pour assurer la sécurité des militaires sur place pendant ces travaux-là? Et est-ce qu'il y a des, justement, est-ce qu'ils vont être relocalisés pour assurer le maintien finalement de l'entraînement hautement stratégique?
À Dwyer Hill?
Oui.
Oui, on peut le faire. On doit continuer de s'assurer que nous avons l'entraînement, la formation là aussi, au même temps de s'assurer que nous avons des nouveaux édifices, des nouveaux moyens pour s'assurer que nous pouvons continuer avec la formation. Mais ce n'est pas seulement la formation, bien sûr, c'est aussi l'infrastructure pour choses comme les cuisines et aussi où on peut se coucher. Ça, c'est les choses nécessaires pour nos forces, et je suis très fière que nous pouvons le faire maintenant cette année. Nous pouvons commencer cette année avec ces investissements.
Le gouvernement précédent avait annoncé le déménagement de cette base-là du côté de Trenton. Bon, évidemment, la facture avait gonflé substantiellement à l'époque. Cependant, vous investissez davantage que ce qui était prévu pour Trenton. Pourquoi c'est un avantage de le garder à Ottawa, ce centre-là particulièrement? C'est
un avantage, mais aussi c'est nécessaire. Parce qu'après l'attaque terroriste de 2014 au monument commémoratif de guerre du Canada et aux édifices du Parlement, il y avait une décision que c'est nécessaire de maintenir ces structures ici dans la région de notre capitale. Donc, on va rester ici et c'est important de continuer de maintenir ces investissements partout dans notre pays, mais surtout dans la région de notre capitale.
Et une dernière question de suivi.
Bonjour, Fiona Collienne, Radio-Canada, Ottawa-Gatineau. Toujours sur votre annonce d'aujourd'hui, vous avez parlé des opportunités économiques que c'est pour notre région. Comment garantir que ce soit vraiment des travailleurs et des industries de la région d'Ottawa qui puissent en bénéficier? On sait que c'est je vois que le contrat pour le Construction Management, il est basé sur une entreprise de Mississauga. Comment faire pour qu'on s'assure que ce soit bien les entreprises et les travailleurs d'Ottawa?
C'est important, oui, de s'assurer que nous avons ces processus en place. Pour moi, j'ai annoncé la décision d'avoir cet investissement, mais comme gouvernement du Canada, avec le meilleur et avec tout le monde ici dans le gouvernement municipal, nous devons s'assurer qu'il y aura des processus pour la construction avec les entreprises. Mais comme j'ai dit, il y a beaucoup de choses que nous devons continuer de respecter. Par exemple, le 5% pour les approvisionnements autochtones. Aussi, les conditions environnementales sont importantes aussi. Donc, c'est complexe, mais il y aura un processus pour s'assurer que nous pouvons avoir un processus robuste avec l'intégrité, parce que ça, c'est nécessaire pas seulement pour cette région, mais partout dans notre pays avec nos investissements.
Peut-être en suivi, quel type d'entreprises et justement de travailleurs peuvent bénéficier quand on parle de développement économique comme celui-là?
Il y aura des contractors et subcontractors, mais comme j'ai dit, il y a un grand investissement pour Dwyer Hill. Donc, on va voir les investissements avec la construction Donc ça, c'est l'industrie qui va bénéficier, mais il y aura beaucoup de types d'entreprises qui vont bénéficier, je pense. Mais comme j'ai dit, c'est 2000 emplois et on va commencer pendant le mois de mai. Donc ça, c'est important pour notre région. Et ça, c'est la raison que nous sommes très heureuses aujourd'hui, parce que tout le monde peut bénéficier ici dans la région de notre capitale. Merci.
Thank you. This concludes today's event. Thank you very much for coming and have a great day.
Thank you.